wanna see what I'm made out of?
On the last day before summer vacation at Roosevelt High School, chaos takes over. The students plan dangerous senior pranks, and the teachers struggle to make it through the day. Discipline is non-existent. The students break rules openly, and respect is nowhere to be found. Years of budget cuts have left the facilities falling apart and the staff discouraged. The focus shifts to Andrew Campbell, an English teacher known as Andy. He is timid, which makes him an easy target for students who constantly take advantage of him. Andy depends heavily on the approval of others and avoids confrontation at all costs. At the same time, he is anxiously waiting for news about his wife Maggie, who is close to giving birth to their second child. In contrast, Ron Strickland, a strict history teacher, commands attention through fear. Students behave in his presence because they know he does not tolerate nonsense. Ron has a reputation as a teacher who never backs down. That morning, the senior pranks begin. Students let ponies loose in the hallways, plaster obscene posters on the walls, and even bring toy guns that look alarmingly real. The fire alarm rings repeatedly as the building descends into chaos. Inside his classroom, Andy struggles to control his noisy students. The situation worsens when Holly, the school counselor and psychology teacher, calls him aside. She shares a rumor about mass layoffs due to the budget crisis. Andy immediately panics, knowing he has a pregnant wife and family to support. Holly adds that 2 teachers have already been let go, which spares Andy for now, but rumors suggest another round of cuts is coming. Shaken, Andy slips into the restroom and calls Maggie. He reassures her that he still has his job. During the call, it is revealed that they also have a 6-year-old daughter Ellie, who is preparing for the father-daughter talent show later that afternoon. Andy and Ellie are scheduled to perform together. Excited, Ellie asks if they can switch their performance to a modern hip-hop song. Andy declines, saying he does not know the lyrics and that the song would not fit the school event. After this tense moment, Andy runs into Ron Strickland. Ron is furious because the TV in his classroom keeps shutting off. Being old school, he has little patience for technology. As Andy heads down the hall, Holly stops him just in time to prevent him from falling into a paint trap set by students. Then Ron calls him over for help with the outdated AV system. Andy quickly notices the cause. One of the students, Neil, is using a universal remote app on his phone to shut the TV off as a prank. Andy explains this to Ron. Enraged, Ron smashes Neil's smartphone to pieces.
He's doing this?
Yeah.
You doing it? Give it to me. Now, you think this is funny? I want you to hashtag LMFA.
Neil, a well-known troublemaker, only laughs and borrows a friend's phone to continue the prank. Humiliated, Ron loses control. He grabs a fire axe from the wall and slams it into Neil's desk, splitting it apart with a deafening crash. The class screams in terror and rushes out. In that moment, the school had no idea what was about to come. This is fist fight. In the tense silence that follows, Ron warns Andy to deny everything if questioned. Still shaken, Andy reluctantly agrees. Their pact does not hold for long. Both are soon summoned to Principal Richard Tyler's office to explain the destruction of school property, where the principal, already overwhelmed by the day's chaos, threatens to fire them if no one confesses. Andy froze, unwilling to speak. Pushed to his limit, Principal Tyler declared that both teachers would be dismissed immediately. Panicked about supporting his family, Andy broke down and revealed everything. He explained how Ron had lost control and destroyed the desk with a fire axe. Andy's confession spared his job, but Ron was fired for vandalism. Feeling betrayed, Ron erupted with anger. He glared at Andy and challenged him to a fight in the school parking lot at 3 p.m. The threat was serious, and Andy was terrified. News of the confrontation spread instantly. Someone had recorded the exchange and posted it online. Within minutes, the teacher fight went viral across Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter. Rumors multiplied. Some claimed Ron had once been a gang member, others said he was a war veteran with PTSD, a violent former cop, or even a pianist who had suffered a breakdown. Certain he had no chance against Ron's size and strength, Andy looked for help. He first asked Coach Crawford, expecting practical fighting advice. Crawford told him to hit first and hit hard, advice Andy knew he could not follow. Next, Andy turned to Ms. Monet, the French teacher. She mocked him and said he deserved a beating. Holly, the counselor, tried to suggest conflict resolution strategies, but her advice had no practical value for Andy's situation. Desperate, Andy went to Neil, the student who had caused the trouble in the first place. He begged Neil to lie to the principal so Ron could be reinstated. Andy believed that if Ron got his job back, the fight might be cancelled. Neil, always opportunistic, demanded a MacBook Pro worth $2,000 in exchange. With no other choice, Andy bought the laptop using his family's savings. On his way back, he unexpectedly ran into Maggie and Ellie in the parking lot. Maggie noticed the Apple bag and assumed Andy had been fired and was hiding the truth. Cornered, Andy panicked and handed the new MacBook to Ellie, pretending it was a surprise gift. Ellie was thrilled. Andy, trying to regain control, asked why she had insisted on changing their talent show song. Ellie explained she wanted to perform the hip-hop track to stand up to a bully at school. After hearing her reasoning, Andy encouraged her but convinced her to stick with the original plan they had practiced together. Before heading out, both Maggie and Ellie reminded him to be at the talent show by 4 p.m. From there, Andy reluctantly returned to the Apple store and bought another MacBook Pro, draining almost all of his family's savings. He handed the laptop to Neil, and together they went to see Principal Tyler. Neil, surprisingly skilled at lying, delivered a convincing testimony. He claimed he had provoked Ron and that Ron was only defending himself from student harassment. The principal believed Neil. Ron's termination was reversed, and Andy felt relieved. He planned to tell Ron the good news, hoping it would end their conflict. Before he could, both Andy and Ron received a call from Holly, who asked them to come to an emergency meeting. She led them to the United Nations debate room, which turned out to be empty. Holly had set them up, hoping to mediate and settle the dispute. When Andy proudly told Ron that he had secured his job back, expecting gratitude, Ron grew even angrier. He felt insulted that Andy had interfered without asking. Ron ranted about the school's broken system, saying it had never respected its teachers. He admitted he was already prepared to move on, either by transferring schools or changing careers entirely. But the fight challenge still stood, and now Ron was even more determined to go through with it. Terrified, Andy called 911 and asked for police protection. The operator laughed when he explained that one teacher wanted to fight another, then hung up. Out of options, Andy came up with a reckless plan to frame Ron. Desperate, he turned back to Neil, who was busy watching the viral video of Andy's failed 911 call. The clip had already spread online and was drawing ridicule from students and staff alike. Andy, inexperienced and nervous, pressured Neil to sell him ecstasy. He planned to plant the drugs in Ron's bag as evidence. Neil tried to push for more payment, but Andy pushed back, reminding him that he had already given him a MacBook. Reluctantly, Neil handed over a packet of white powder. Andy took it, determined to move forward with his dangerous plan. Meanwhile, Principal Tyler discovered his Toyota Prius had been vandalized in another senior prank. The car was wrecked, dragged into the school lobby, and covered with graffiti and rotten eggs. Outraged, Tyler announced a full investigation. Amid the chaos, Andy slipped the supposed ecstasy into Ron's bag in the teacher's lounge. He then called the police, hoping Ron would be arrested before the 3 p.m. fight. Hours later, officers arrived with drug-sniffing dogs to search the school. The plan collapsed when Coach Crawford exposed the truth. Neil had tricked Andy, giving him nothing more than crushed aspirin. The dogs found nothing. Growing desperate, Andy bought real marijuana from another dealer and sneaked back into the lounge to try again. But Ron was there and caught him in the act. The two fought over the bag until the police rushed in with the dogs.
You tried to plant drugs on me, didn't you?
Don't come closer.
What you think they're gonna come in here if you like that little toothpick? Hey, don't do it.
Police!
You know what? Kill your ass.
Okay, guys, what seems to be the trouble here?
During the struggle, the bag spilled open, revealing the drugs. Both teachers were arrested for possession and disorderly conduct. From the police station, Andy called Ellie and told her he could not make it to the talent show. Ellie, who had been waiting all day, broke down in tears. For Andy, hearing her disappointment was crushing. Andy and Ron were then placed in the same holding cell with several hardened inmates. Despite their situation, they continued exchanging hostile looks. Among the prisoners was a massive man who immediately stood out as threatening. Still scheming, Andy tried to redirect the fight onto Ron. He told the big inmate that Ron had insulted his family, convincing him to attack once Andy gave a signal. Andy then tried to trick Ron into giving that signal himself. But Ron, drained from the day's chaos, told Andy that the fight was off. He believed they had both endured enough. Moments later, the big inmate attacked anyway. Ron, acting on instinct, revealed his hidden fighting ability and dropped the man with a single punch.
Guys, this has just been a misunderstanding. Yeah, that.
When Ron realized Andy had set him up, his anger boiled over. Furious at the betrayal, he declared the fight was back on. This time, he swore he would finish it. A few hours later, both Andy and Ron were released when police confirmed the drugs were only aspirin repackaged by Neil. Relieved, Andy checked the time and saw it was just 2 p.m. He still had a chance to make it to Ellie's talent show at 4. Before leaving, Andy returned to school to meet Principal Tyler about his job. To his shock, he found that Holly, Coach Crawford, and Ms. Monet had all been dismissed in a second round of layoffs. Now it was his turn to wait for the verdict. After nearly an hour in the lobby, impatience got the better of him. Worried about missing the talent show, Andy burst into the office. Inside, Principal Tyler was in discussion with Johnson, a representative from the school board. Andy was told he would keep his job. Tyler explained that the school board had already met its budget cut target under the state's deficit reduction policy, so Andy's position was safe. Confused and frustrated, Andy questioned how the system could value budget numbers more than teaching quality. His concerns were brushed aside with vague answers. Feeling cornered, Tyler abruptly changed course and fired Andy as well. No longer caring, Andy rushed to the auditorium. On stage, Ellie sang the song they had practiced together, but her nerves showed. Her voice shook, and she kept looking at the crowd. When she noticed her bully in the front row mocking her, she broke down, left the stage, and ran backstage in tears. Andy immediately asked Maggie to go to the sound booth and play the hip-hop track Ellie had wanted. Maggie hesitated because of the lyrics, but Andy insisted this was about their daughter's confidence. He then found Ellie crying backstage. Kneeling beside her, he encouraged her to return to the stage and perform the song she truly wanted. He promised to stand by her and follow along, no matter how clumsy his moves might be. With that support, Ellie stepped back onto the stage and sang with a burst of confidence. The shy girl from before was gone, replaced by someone bold and fearless. The surprise came in the lyrics. The song included curse words that were clearly inappropriate for a school event. Parents shifted uncomfortably in their seats, whispering to each other, but Ellie kept going with full energy.
Little stupid ass, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, I don't give a fuck, bitch, I don't give a. You little stupid ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you. You little dumb ass bitch, I ain't fucking with you.
Halfway through, the organizers and Principal Tyler cut the sound system and ended the performance. Even so, Ellie walked away proud. She had silenced her bully, who now looked more impressed than mocking. Watching his daughter refuse to back down inspired Andy. If Ellie could face her fear, so could he. This became his turning point. He decided he would no longer run from Ron. Andy said goodbye to his family and returned to the school parking lot, ready for the fight. Students gathered in a circle as the two men faced each other. The fight began brutally.
Oh, you want some more of this? Oh, boy. That's my stuff, damn it!
Ron easily knocked Andy down again and again, using his strength and experience. Still, Andy refused to quit. The brawl escalated, moving from the parking lot into hallways, classrooms, the cafeteria, the gym, and even the library. Both men grew battered and exhausted, but Andy kept getting up. He fought with persistence and used anything around him: books, chairs, equipment, even hit-and-run tactics. At one point, Andy blasted Ron in the face with a fire extinguisher, dropping him to the floor. Believing he had won, Andy shouted in triumph. But Ron, who had only been pretending, struck back with a surprise attack.
You're gonna stop fighting! To fight, never! Like he said.
The fight paused when Andy's phone rang. Out of breath, Ron picked it up. Maggie said she was at the hospital, her contractions stronger and closer together. Hearing this, Ron showed an unexpected side. He helped Andy to his feet and drove him to the hospital. Their fight ended in reconciliation. On the way, the radio reported that their brawl had gone viral, drawing attention from both local and national media. The fight quickly became a symbol of frustration in the American education system. Public debate grew, with many claiming the system was broken, forcing teachers into stress and even violence. The controversy eventually drew the attention of the Department of Education, which launched an investigation to address the deeper problems. Meanwhile, Andy reached the hospital in time for his wife's labor. He admitted honestly that he had lost his job after speaking out against a corrupt system, but he reassured Maggie that their family would be fine. Soon after, she gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Witnessing his son's arrival filled Andy with joy and a sense of renewal. Outside the delivery room, Ron waited and celebrated the news as well. The two finally shook hands and offered each other apologies. In the weeks that followed, the video of their fight continued to circulate online, drawing millions of views on YouTube and other platforms. The clash between Andy and Ron was now seen as a reflection of teachers' struggles with budget cuts, unruly students, and weak leadership. One afternoon, Andy hosted a backyard barbecue with his colleagues Holly, Coach Crawford, and Ms. Monet, all still unemployed. They talked about the challenges of job hunting and the difficulty of staying in education during the crisis. To everyone's surprise, Principal Tyler arrived with news. The district office, under pressure from public opinion, wanted Andy and Ron back. Branded as education heroes, they were needed to repair the district's reputation and to show support for teachers. This time, Andy had leverage. He agreed to return only if all the laid-off teachers, including Holly, Crawford, and Ms. Monet, were reinstated. He made it clear that he would not accept the job otherwise. Facing pressure from both the district and the media, Tyler had no choice but to accept. The story closed with the start of a new school year. Teachers returned with renewed determination and better working conditions. Andy, now more confident and firm, stood in front of his classroom ready for whatever challenge came next. Across the hall, Ron greeted him with a nod, a reminder of how far they had come. So the moral of the story is if you ever end up fighting your coworker with fire axes, drug stings, and viral videos, just remember, it might still get you your job back, as long as you can survive the talent show first.